Hello children, today we are going to do the chapter Microorganism, Friends and Foe. So a very interesting chapter. So first we are going to see some introduction about microorganism. So microorganisms are very tiny organism which we cannot be seen with our naked eyes, but it can be only observed through a microscope. So microscope is an instrument with the help of which we can see very minute organism which we cannot see with our naked eye. So with the help of microscope only we can see the microorganism. Now they live everywhere. They may be inside your house, outside your house, they may be in the environment, everywhere, and they are very minute which cannot be observed with your eyes. Now they are also found in aquatic environments such as stream, ponds, rivers, lakes and all. And another very interesting thing is they also require water to live and reproduce. So they also reproduce their own type. Now the thing with the help of which this microorganism survives are food and shelter, and they can eat everything around us. That's why um, everything around the food which they eat are known as the hosts. Now you might have seen microorganism. uh, we have some examples out here. So microorganisms are classified into 5 groups, that is bacteria, algae, fungi, virus and protozoa. So we can see microorganisms are classified into 5 groups, that are your bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa and virus. So the first which we are going to discuss is bacteria. So the size of bacteria is very small, as it's given here is 0.2 to 100 microns. Now the unit of microns is 1 microns is equal to 1 by 1000. That means 0.0001 0.001 of a millimeter. That means 1 micron is equal to 0.001 millimeter. So that is very small, which we cannot observe with eyes. Now some interesting fact about this bacteria are they do have cell wall. That means they behave like a plant cell, but they do not have a well defined nucleus. That means they exactly we cannot see the nucleus properly. The hereditary material is not bounded by any membrane. It is scattered in the cytoplasm. So hereditary material means the substance with the help of which it is able to multiply. It's usually scattered in the cytoplasm. Now the structure of bacteria looks something like this. As you can see, you have flagella, plasma membrane, cytoplasm, food granules, nucleoids, all the substance here. Now bacteria are basically of 3 types, I mean 3 shapes, and those are your round shape, spiral shape, rod shape. Now round shape bacteria are known as Koki, as you can see the structure out here. Then the rod shapes are known as your Bacilli. Then spiral shapes are known as your Spiralia, as you can see the structures out here. Now in Spiralia, as you can see, it has a whip-like structure. Can you see this third one out here? Third one, it has a whip-like structure that is known as flagella. With the help of flagella, they are able to. It helps them for locomotion. They use this flagella to move. Now this is your bacteria. Then we have fungi. Now this is a very common microorganism which you have observed. Suppose for breakfast you are bringing bread, and after having some bread you keep the leftover inside the package, and after 4 to 5 days, if suppose that the packaging of the bread is not done properly, after 4 to 5 days you might observe some brown or greenish structure at the top of the bread, as you can see out here. That is your fungus. That means now the fungus has grown at the top of the bread. Now it is the same fungus which you eat. In some marriage ceremonies and all, the mushrooms are also given to you for food. Some mushroom dishes are also presented. So that mushroom also is an example of a fungus. Now fungi are of 2 types, parasitic and saprophytic. Parasitic means they obtain their food from other living organisms. That means they grow in the trees, uh, and they obtain all their substance from all their food and nutrition from that tree. And saprophytics are usually obtaining from dead and decaying matter. Suppose there is a dead wood, a wood which has been chopped out and it is kept in a place for a while, and this saprophyte, they obtain their food from those trees and they are able to grow. Some fungi are some fungi such as yeast are unicellular, whereas other molds are multicellular. So yeast is a very important substance you will be studying in our upcoming topics. What are some of the uses of yeast? Then we have algae. Now algae you have seen in lakes, especially in ponds and all, the greenish layer at the top, that is your algae. Now some unique things about algae is they have the property to photosynthesize. That means they can produce their own food. But but something we need to remember is they do not have root, stems or leaves. But still they are able to produce. They are still able to do photosynthesis, with the help of which they are able to prepare their own food. Now some types of algae are given to you. Now some examples of algae are Calmidomonas and Chlorella are unicellular, whereas Spirogyra are multicellular. So these are the some examples of algae, as you can see in the diagram. So they are usually greenish red in color. So usually you find that in ponds and all, where water does not able to flow, but water is just stagnant in some place. The upper layer, the greenish layer, is your algae. Then we have protozoa. Protozoa are unicellular organisms. These are usually found in damp places. They are they either capture their food or are parasitic. So that means they can either they either parasitic means they are able to